Now, I am popping this live video in especially because I had someone in the comments that was talking about how hard it is to set boundaries and to have a difficult or courageous conversation. Who's ever been in that place where it's, oh, I'm a bit hesitant, I don't know what to say, maybe I'm worried if I say no, what will happen, but if I say yes, I know that's not right for me, I do need to hold this boundary. Who's been in that place? We've all been in that place. So in this video, I'm going to be covering the two most common hurdles that we need to overcome when having a courageous conversation, and I'm also going to give you a really clear framework. I expand on this framework in my Rise Up program, so everyone has a good chance to practice and really understand it. But I'll just give you the overview now so that you've got something to take away. All right, so courageous conversations. What are the two hurdles? The two hurdles. Number one hurdle is people pleasing. Thinking, well, I need to harmonize the situation. I don't want to worry somebody. I don't want this to cascade into something else. I better make sure I just keep everything harmonized. I don't want to rock the boat. Who's ever done that before? We've all done that. We've all done that. And the problem with people pleasing is it's okay to please people. That's not a bad thing. It just shouldn't come at the expense of us. We also need to please ourselves. And I know that I have dropped this quite shocking revelation about people pleasing in the group before, but people pleasing isn't really about pleasing others. It's about avoiding your own discomfort, which is just really pleasing yourself and making yourself comfortable. That hurts. It's such a horrible realization. But who knows that, or who can agree that when we go to have a courageous conversation, we think, oh, well, I'll just avoid it. It's because we feel uncomfortable. And nobody likes to feel uncomfortable. That's not comfortable. I'll just turn left and avoid it. So people pleasing sometimes isn't about keeping others happy. Sometimes it's just about avoiding our own discomfort. And once I knew that, I just have to take a deep breath and acknowledge this is going to be uncomfortable for me. I'm going to take a deep breath, because through discomfort is where growth occurs. I'll say that again. It's through discomfort where our growth occurs. So people pleasing, question yourself, is it really pleasing someone else, or am I just trying to avoid my own discomfort? Sometimes that's the case. Sometimes it truly is that you want to keep harmony, but how long can you sustain that without setting the boundary? That's hard. So first hurdle to overcome, people pleasing. Let's see if we can hurdle it. Next hurdle is worry. Worry on the outcome, like and we start to catastrophize in our minds, right? Like it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger in our brains of like all the things that could go wrong, all of the problems that could occur, how the conversation will unravel, and it turns into a giant movie in our minds. Now, sometimes it is, we need to overcome worry by leaning into trust. I trust myself that I can do this. I trust the outcome. It might be messy, but it needs to change. And maybe instead of listening to the voice of worry, asking yourself, what would the voice of encouragement have to share with me? Now, encouragement comes from the word courage, which includes the word cor, which means open heart, your heart. That's a Latin word for heart. So what would the voice of encouragement and confidence perhaps have to say with you? Can you lean into trust, which might help hurdle the worry? So we've got the two hurdles. We've got people pleasing. We've got worry. These are the two hurdles we have to overcome to have a courageous conversation. Can you do it? All right, next step is to be able to step into a conversation framework that works. So I can't give you the exact words that you need to have in your conversation, but this is the framework to help. Now, this is based on some of the work of Brené Brown. I've been on one of her Dare to Lead retreats and done a lot of her training. So she's an amazing woman and I love her. And so her framework is based on encouraging us to have what we call a soft front and a strong back. So what do I mean by that? A soft front means an open heart. So when we start a conversation, we don't want to start it with boxing gloves on. It doesn't work. We want to start a conversation with an open heart. And an open heart means I'm curious to see all sides. Maybe I don't see the whole picture. Maybe I don't clearly understand. Help me understand. An open heart means I've got empathy. This is hard. Empathy for the person and also empathy for myself. A soft heart also means I've managed my emotions. I'm not in the red zone of stress and reactivity. I've learnt how to calm that down first. So that's how to come at a conversation with a soft front. So some of the conversation starter sentences could be, hey, I noticed, or I'm curious, can you help me understand? I need to know a little bit more. Is there a good time that we can talk? These are opening conversation starters that mean that we've got a bit more of an open heart and a calm emotional system. Now, a strong back means that I'm really clear on what's important. And I've just talked through some video content to help women find what's most important to them so they can start to set boundaries. If you're interested in knowing more about direction, just type direction in the chat and I'll send you some information. But getting clear on really what's important to you helps you set the boundaries and have a strong back. And so the conversation might look like, hey, I noticed this has been going on lately. The impact has been, it's left me quite overwhelmed. What I need moving forward is for us to work together so I can XYZ. Do you reckon we can make this work? So a soft front, hey, I noticed, I'm curious, let me understand. A little sentence on the impact of this has been this. What I need, that's the strong back. Moving forward, this is what needs to change. It's okay for this to happen, it's not okay for that. I'll give you an example in my own working environment. I had a woman that was working for me that was running late for work almost religiously for about 2 or 3 weeks straight. And it had a big impact on the physio business because it meant the phones weren't answered, the bills weren't rung up, invoices weren't created, and it created a lot of havoc in the first, in the morning section of our working day. So I approached her. Hey, I noticed that you've been late to work, for the last couple of weeks. The impact of this is that it's created a knock-on effect. We miss incoming calls. The physios have to ring up their own invoices and take payments. We start to run late. So it impacts the whole team. Moving forward, it's okay if you're late from time to time. I totally get that. It's just not okay for that to be consistent. Is there anything that I need to understand to help us move forward so that that boundary is that's maintained? So you can see in that sentence of like, hey, I've noticed the impact is, here's the boundary, this is what we need, it's okay for this, it's not okay for that, what can we do to move forward? Now, in creating that conversation, I realized that this particular team member, in actual fact, was running late because one of her kids was sick and she was trying to run around and drop him off at her mum's, and there was lots of things happening in the background for her. And because I then understood and took the time to understand, we then came to a solution together, and it meant that the conversation went well. So here's what often goes wrong. We decide that we're too worried to have a conversation. We don't want to rock the boat, we're people pleasing, we're avoiding it, it's too uncomfortable. And then we keep it inside, and then guess what happens? It turns into a raging inferno. Like, I'm resentful because they never listened and they should have done this, and it starts to escalate in the mind. And instead of coming at the conversation with calm emotions, suddenly we've got our boxing gloves on. And it's like, well, let me tell you, I think you've done this, boom, boom, left, right, hook. And suddenly the conversation starts to go a bit pear-shaped. And they come back at us and say, well, you've never X, Y, Z. And then we've come at it with a hard front, and guess what happens next? Oh, we have a soft back. We go, oh, don't worry, it's okay, forget it. No, as you were, just continue as you were. So we need to flip it around. We need to make sure we don't come at it with boxing gloves, which means we need to be open. We need to calm our emotions. If you want to know more about how to calm emotions, type emotions in the chat, and I'll definitely give you some great tips for that. But calming emotions is important because it means that we are approachable and curious about what's going to happen and to understand all sides. And then a strong back means, well, actually, this is not okay. It's okay for this, it's not okay for that. Moving forward, this is what needs to change. And we can stand firm and be clear with that. So if we don't have that framework, it can all start to unravel with a hard front and then a soft back, and then we end up back in the corner of our rooms rocking, going, oh, I don't know what I've done wrong, like I can never seem to set boundaries, this is a scary thing. It does take courage. It does take a breath. It does feel uncomfortable, but when you follow that framework, that is one thing that can really help.